Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Bummer. What's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's edition of the Block the Shot to Stop, our Cleveland Cavaliers podcast, brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. Tonight, all three of us are here to talk about the Cavs' first home loss of the season. Tim Daniel, Skylar Webker, and Kevin Lynch. Although the night was not our night, I'm still excited to be talking basketball with my pals. So let's get into it.
Is that what you're thankful for, Tim?
That's yes. Talking basketball with you guys. That's what I'm thankful for. On this Thanksgiving Eve, that Trae Young just ripped out our souls at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Ugh.
Yeah, that like half court heave dagger that he hit there in the fourth quarter after
they missed the walk.
Yeah.
After he shot about 10 of them to make the one, and then that one will be the highlight on SportsCenter. Oh, it drives me insane.
Yeah, for sure. Drives me crazy. All right, well, we're gonna get into the bads for sure. So the good is they started this game off very hot. It looked like it was going to be one of those games where they were just going to kind of take over. They're up 27-8, and then just really kind of took their foot off the gas. It looked like at times Atlanta ends up tying it up, being 35-35 to go into the second quarter. And then from there on, it's kind of a fight back and forth. Atlanta kind of gets some big gets leads. Cleveland comes back. And the fourth quarter, I really thought they were going to win. I thought that the way they played, especially to start the quarter, Jalen Tyson had that defensive possession on Kobe Buffkin where he just hounded him. And I thought, okay, cool. Then, they're going to be fine. They're going to have, but it was a lot of games tonight where it didn't feel like they were as tapped in defensively as they normally are. And I want to kind of get into some defensive numbers here in a second for kind of a trend we're seeing with the team. But it felt like it was a game they let go away. And I feel like it's kind of their fault. And look, I'm going to have a really hard time coming and doing a show being upset about a team that's 17-2, but they left a lot on the floor tonight. And I guess the good news is you get them again on Friday.
Yeah. You said it, Tim. Like, so the two biggest things that jump out to me, like, on the positive note, we'll start positive. Like you said, in the first quarter, they came out really well, and that's kind of been the trend with the Cavs this year. Like I was looking at some stats today, and the Cavs have the far and away the most positive net rating in the first quarter in the NBA, like by 5 points. If anybody doesn't know, net rating is offensive rating minus defensive rating equals net rating. And it basically means when your net rating's that good, it means you're either playing unbelievable offense, unbelievable defense, or really good at both. And so they continued that trend for about the first 9 or 10 minutes of the first quarter. And then it was really when the bench came in for the Hawks that it is something you usually see at the Cavs. The bench comes in, gives a different dimension, but the Hawks definitely did that tonight. And the tone really changed at the end of that first quarter and kind of felt like the Cavs were playing catch up the rest of the game. And to kind of drive your point home about the defense, Tim, let's be honest, the defense wasn't good tonight. They gave up 74 points in the second half to a team that's in the bottom half of the league in offensive efficiency. So bad nights happen. They just haven't really happened for the Cavs yet. And you move on to Friday.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's the key point here is, out of the two games, you could afford to lose this one because Friday's the cup game.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. It's a bummer. And look, we were saying it off air. I'm going to bring it on air. Like, it stinks to lose to Trae Young. Like,
yes,
he is the most unenjoyable basketball player to watch for me personally. You look at his numbers and you see 22 assists. he stat hunts more than like hunts the actual winning play and everything. He shot 10 40-foot threes and then finally made one at the end of the game. And he's terrible defensively. Like Donovan Mitchell, when Trae Young gets matched up on him, his eyes look like my daughter's eyes when we tell her there's cake after dinner. Like, like I won't see Donovan Mitchell as excited as when he sees Trae Young opposite him on defense. So, all that's to say, they were the better team tonight. And again, move on to Friday. And like Skylar said, move on and get the win in the NBA Cup game.
Yeah, for sure.
To key off of what you said there, Kevin, like with him stat hunting and stuff, that's very apparent when you have somebody that's 22 assists and 20 points, but only +5 and you're plus and minus.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's somebody that's clearly padding stats that it's not affecting the game in, the positive manner you'd see out of, most NBA starters.
Yeah. And you can look in, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but like there's stats for like the amount of passes you make per offensive possession. Trae Young teams have always been towards the bottom, if not at the bottom, because he dribbles so much. It's just not enjoyable basketball to watch, but we caught them on a night they got really hot. I mean, Hunter and Bogdanovich both got really hot when they came in the game and kind of carried the Hawks in the first half, and then a bunch of guys made contributions in the second half. And like I said, you're not going to win many NBA games when you give up 74 points in the second half.
Yeah. I would really like to just not see Bojan Bogdanovich again after he almost ruined my summer. So still kind of hold a grudge there. Granted, we did win and we made sure they only got bronze. How's that bronze feel, Bogdanovich? But still not a fan. Just because of that.
Side note, why don't the Nuggets go get him? I mean, he plays so well with Jokic, and he's on a reasonable contract. Like, and the Hawks have at different times been looking to unload players the last couple of years. Why wouldn't they go get him? I've never understood that. I
agree. I completely agree. One thing that really kind of jumped out to me that was really disappointing today for the offensive side of things was I don't know if I want to say that the Cavs settled for the 3. Because I don't know if that's realistic. That's how they play basketball, right? That's the kind of team they are. But there was a lot of situations, particularly in the fourth quarter, I noticed this. I don't know if you guys noticed it either or had thoughts on this, but there's a lot of times where, like, I'm all for team drive and dish. I think Garland's probably the best at it this year in the league. But there's a lot of times tonight, particularly, especially in the fourth quarter, where drive and dish was driving to the rim and passing it behind you to the 3-point line and taking a shot and missing. And I don't love that. I don't love that in the sense that I feel like, especially there's one play where I think it's Ty Jerome is driving to the rim and it looks like he's had a pretty decent shot by himself. And he passes out to Mitchell and Mitchell misses a 3, which don't get me wrong. I'm always going to trust Donovan Mitchell to shoot a shot. But I feel like in that situation, where it's like, just take the 2 and just kind of get back and see what you can make happen. It felt like there was quite a few of those tonight where it's like you passed up the easy shot to try to add to your score, where you're trying to like basically get all 8 points back, you're down in one possession. And I felt like they kind of did that a couple times in the fourth quarter that really kind of ended up costing them.
Yeah, I think they got baited into playing how Atlanta plays. Atlanta plays pretty 3-point heavy, especially with Daniels and Trae Young. Definitely not like what we see in like Boston or Golden State and things like that. But Atlanta's not a drive into the paint team, and the Cavs are so multifaceted that is a part of their game. You have 2 of the best big men in the league. So yeah, I think you're right, Tim. I think they got baited into playing how Atlanta plays.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I got a couple stats to prove your point, Tim. So the Cavs tonight shot 62% on 2-pointers and 31% on 3-pointers. Really shows the difference. When they did go to the rim, they were incredibly successful. The other point is the Cavs, and I don't have the to-date stat, but as of a game or two ago, about 36% of their shots were 3-pointers, Tonight, 51% of their shots were 3-pointers. So shot way more threes than they normally did, shot a bad percentage. And again, like this is just an overall bad game. Like we talked about the defense, and now we're talking about the offense. I mean, it wasn't the best game, but even with not the best game, they were right in it. And like you said, halfway through the fourth quarter, it felt like they're going to win.
Yeah, it really did. And honestly, not to keep doing this, we do it every episode. Evan Mobley again, very good tonight. Very, very good.
5 steals, 3 blocks.
Onyeka Okongwu did not have an answer for him. And I was kind of shocked that I felt like it was the game, and I'll get to a few things here that I want to talk about as well. But I felt like this was really the first game for him where if I'm Kenny Atkinson, and I'm not blaming Kenny Atkinson for this loss, so please don't take me saying it this way by any means. But I think that's the game where I run my offense through him because they don't have an answer for him. It's get Mobley the ball in the post, and if they're going to crash on him, you have a shot somewhere else. If that's the way you're going to shoot threes tonight when you're not having your best game, fine. But I'm having Evan Mobley lead me to victory, or I'm losing with him being my best player tonight.
No, I completely agree, Tim. And like we don't know what's discussed in the huddle, and we've all sang Kenny Atkinson's praises here. So it's not a criticism on him or on the players, but it was a missed opportunity. Let's just put it that way, that they had no answer for Mobley or Allen for that matter inside. They were shooting 62% on 2-pointers. It seemed like every time they tried to get them the ball, they tried to get to the rim, that they were successful. And they just didn't do it enough. They settled. I mean, as you said, they settled for way too many 3-pointers. Skylar made a great point about they kind of got baited into that's more the Hawks game, and we played the Hawks game instead of the Cavs game. Yeah. Now Skylar's got me saying we with the team.
I know. Me too.
It's infectious, guys. We're all in this.
Yeah, but and that's what it is. Look, it's the NBA. It's an 82-game season. This isn't college football where if you lose one game, it could be the end of the world, right? Like you're going to lose some games. They had a bad night tonight, both offensively and defensively, and hopefully more than anything, it's just a learning lesson for Mobley and Allen and all the players on the team. Kenny Atkinson might go back and he might be kicking himself right now and be like, I should have ran more pick and roll or post ups to set up Allen and Mobley. There's a good possibility he is, and so like I said, missed opportunity, and I'll be really interested to see how they play differently on Friday, having the Hawks 2 days later after a frustrating loss like this. It'll be interesting to see the adjustments when they come out on Friday. Yeah,
and you need this win Friday for the sake of the cup, but also you need the point differential to kind of catch up to Boston. There was one play particular that I really loved. I want to make sure we talked about a lot of bad here, but there was one offensive play that just really jumped out to me. That was like, if I could draw a basketball offense, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And this is kind of going back to Kevin's point about how well they shot it too. So there's a play in the fourth where Mobley's in the poach, misses the top of the key, and they actually use Merrill as a cutter. And Mobley has this seal screen that is just the absolute perfect screen you want a big man to get. Mitchell hits Merrill with on the pass, gets right to the rim, perfect layup. I want to see that 80% of the game.
Yeah.
And that was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that was a great play. The one play that's just hanging in my head is that crazy a acrobatic dunk that Mobley had. I think it was in the second quarter where he kind of wrapped around. I think Capella was up against him and just threw it down. I thought he was going to break the rim off like Shaq style.
He doesn't. Shaquille O'Neal.
I was gonna say if he had Shaq's girth, he probably would have. He's a little bit more slender. There is lots of good things. Mobley was fantastic, particularly on the offensive boards. I thought he had a lot of, especially when they're mounting a comeback in the second half. He had a lot of putbacks and ones, things like that. Switching gears a little bit, I want to make sure I talk to you all about this. I've been off for a few games. I have been watching, but I've been watching while I'm moving. What do you all think of the rotation? Not just tonight, but the last couple of games. Obviously, they have a couple guys out. LeVert and Wade have both been out. A couple other guys were out. Not criticizing, but I guess asking a question. I was a little taken back why Okoro only played 22 minutes tonight.
Me too.
I thought, been playing outstanding. He's now one of the top 3-point shooters in the league. I think he's shooting 47-48% to go along with the defense that he provides. Not real sure why he only got 22 minutes tonight. And it seemed like, especially and I think all of his points were in the first half, maybe in the first quarter. Like it seemed like he had it going and then they kind of went away from him. So I'm just interested what you guys have seen in the rotation both tonight and maybe Sunday.
Go ahead, Skyler.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes in with what we talked about, kind of getting baited into needing the offensive production. When in reality, you kind of probably needed the defense to stop them from doing everything that they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that has a play to it because, I mean, if you look at the guys that got minutes instead of him, there was Niang and Merrill, and 2 from 7 from 3 and 2 from 6 from 3. You're not going to getting it done. So they probably were better off probably putting Okoro in there instead of those guys.
Or even Jalen Tyson. Jalen Tyson had a couple of great defensive moments that Tim said, but like I was a little surprised. He had a really good game against the Pelicans D squad last week that you guys covered. I was a little bit surprised they went to him in this game, especially by the time he came in, I think they were already losing and everything. So again, not to knock everybody. I'm Isaac Okoro's number one fan, at least on this podcast, and just think he's been playing really, really well. So I was a little taken back that he only played 22 minutes and he seemed to play very little in the second half, especially.
Yeah, especially because his alma mater won the Maui Invitational today. So shout out to that. It's a good day to be Isaac Okoro. Yeah, I really think that, I mean, if you're number one, I'm a pretty close too. So I think he's been tremendous. And tonight, especially, I think they really could have used him. Like you said, the 3-point shooting's there. I mean, when they started up with 10-0, he was the guy who hit the shot for be a 10-0 run, and probably the guy you can count on the most in that circumstance as far as guarding Trae Young. I know they brought Mobley up quite a few times to guard him, but that's what you kind of want, because you want someone who's going to be able to keep speed for speed with him. And I know we keep talking about Trae Young particularly, but I think that with the additional guys they have guys who are likable, right? Just not their best player. Jalen Johnson's great. Dyson Daniels great. But I thought that with tonight, Okoro really should have been kind of using that emphasis more, where I like Sam Merrill. I think Sam Merrill's a really good player, and I think he's going to be a really huge part of this team. But when they get these 3 guys back, I would have to say him and Tyson are likely the odd men out at that point. So I don't know.
You're probably right. Yeah. Yeah. And Porter too. But it was good to see Merrill hit a couple shots tonight. He's been struggling with a shot. I wrote it down. He's been shooting about 30% from 3 over the last 5 or 6 games, or I think overall 30%, but let's be honest, almost every one of his shots is from 3. But yeah, he was really struggling with a shot. It was good to see. I actually thought that was a really good sign in the second quarter when he got going, hit a couple shots. But yeah, I think this is a game. Obviously, you could have used Dean Wade and Karis LeVerts, but I think with the roster that we had, we probably could have used another 10 minutes out of Okoro, and that could have made some of the difference with not only Trae Young, but like you were just stopping Trae Young, but they had like DeAndre Hunter and Bogdanovic just went way over their season average. It would have been good to, maybe move Okoro around to be the cooler on whoever was hot on their team. I don't know. That was just something I noticed in the game. I think I noticed in the second half. I'm like, God, I feel like I haven't seen Okoro in forever. And then looked up his minutes and saw that he didn't play as much as normal tonight.
Is he on a minutes restriction? Maybe because he's coming off that ankle.
Could be, but I haven't heard Kenny say anything about it.
Yeah, neither have I.
So he played 20. He played 29 minutes on Sunday.
Yeah.
So if he was, I mean, looking at his season, mid-20s is usually about where he is. But that was with the full roster before he started having a couple guys go down. And when a couple guys go down, like you've seen, a lot of the starters' minutes have ticked up. We were talking for I don't know how long the first couple weeks, first probably 3 weeks at least, about how nobody plays 35 minutes. Like all the starters are averaging 30 minutes. Well, you saw tonight, like Mobley was at 36, Mitchell's at 36, Garland's at 32. So like their minutes are ticking up, one, because it's a close game, and two, because they don't have quite the depth because of the injuries.
Yeah, which I don't know. Well, I haven't heard a whole lot of Strus updates of late. So we'll see
I
kind of
haven't
where
either.
that goes.
It's been very quiet on that front, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
I think he said, or he's getting reevaluated. It was either this week or next week. But I think Kenny Atkinson still said that he's got some ways to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one other thing I was going to mention, it kind of goes back to the point about needing to use Mobley and Allen tonight. Jared Allen only took 7 shots tonight. He was 6 for 7 and had 17 points because fouls and everything. Again, every time they went to him and Mobley down low or on a pick and roll or something like that, it seemed to work really well. And they just didn't do enough of it.
Yeah. That, and then obviously nothing's going to irritate me more as a basketball fan than leaving points at the line. And the fourth quarter, they did a lot of that. But hey, it just wasn't their night. You know what? Give credit to the Hawks. Cavs didn't play their best basketball. I think we know if they play their best basketball, they win that game pretty well. And you have a chance to do it on Friday. I do want to talk real quick about the defense, not just tonight, but in general. We're seeing a trend here. So granted, when they were 15-0, the defense was in the top 5 in the league in defensive rating. Currently, right now, it is 10th overall. I think that's after tonight if NBA.com updates as often as I think they do. But in the last 10 games, they are 16th in defensive rating.
Oof.
So they are middle of the pack. Where in Skyler, I know you and I talked a lot early during the preseason where we felt like, yeah, the defense will probably take a step back from where they were last year, but I still think they'll be very good defensively. And realistically, I do still think they're very good defensively, but Dean Wade being gone, who's a really good defender, you're down Karis LeVert, you're down Strus, obviously. And you've been down, you had a game without Mobley, you had a game without Mitchell, where I know Mitchell's not the best defender as far as a man-to-man defender, but his defensive effort this year has not lacked.
You're not kidding. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah. And so I think that maybe it could just be teams are shooting really well. I mean, Toronto came into that game and they were better than their record said they were. And I think tonight obviously was definitely not their best game defensively, but are you guys kind of looking at this as trying to thinking like this is something that you're kind of concerned about, or do you think this is just kind of one of those stretches?
I feel like it's one of those stretches. I guess it kind of goes parallel with this question that I had. Like, are the Cavs feeling a little bit of rust after coming off the marathon? Now you got extra rest, extra recovery. Do you feel the rust kind of creep in a little bit because you're not doing 19 games in 29 days? Because it kind of felt like that tonight. Like it felt like they've had so much rest that almost, I don't want to say lethargic, but it just felt like you were stuck in the mud all game.
Could have been. It felt like it was their first game that were really sluggish. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think I'm on the fence of those two, Tim. I'm not quite yet concerned, but I'm not writing it off either, I think.
Sure.
Because, on one hand, you could say teams go through ebbs and flows. They have played a couple, pretty good offensive teams this month. Or I should say in that stretch that you said, they had the Celtics. For some reason, the Bulls are incredibly, I don't know what their offensive rating is, but it's got to be really good against the Celtics. Like they play great offense against the Celtics for some reason. But they actually played, I thought they played really good defense the last couple of games after the Boston game against the Pelicans. Again, a very depleted Pelican squad. And I thought they were pretty good against the Raptors as well Sunday nights. So, I think this one, I think it's something to keep an eye on is where I'm at. It's not concerned yet. Like, let's check it again, come mid-December. And if it's still kind of on this trend, then maybe you start getting concerned.
Fair.
The schedule also gets a lot tougher here in December. I think there's a stretch right after Christmas or leading into Christmas where it's like Lakers, Nuggets, Mavericks, Warriors. You got a lot of tough games. I think that's the exact order.
Well, the good news is the Lakers don't play any defense, so I feel confident in that game. So yeah, and apparently they're like trying to get Trae Young, so their defense will be even less defense. So I know,
terrible.
I know, I do not want it. Like Kevin and I said it on, in the past. We watched the Lakers second most to the Cavaliers, and so of course it's like so that's not something where I want to be watching Trae Young on a night-to-night basis.
I think I'm also watching the Lakers second most of the Cavs just because they're normally the national game on the 10 o'clock spot.
Yeah,
true.
right after the Cavs get down.
Yeah, it's true. Not many TNT doubleheaders though this year on the schedule.
Not really. Well, maybe it's because their contract's coming to an end.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about the ESPN thing, actually. I think ESPN really needs them for their NBA coverage.
I agree.
I'm much more excited about the NBC coming back.
Me too.
NBA on NBC.
Yeah, NBA on NBC. I remember that from the early days.
Yeah, I was playing. My daughter was in our new house was doing basketball class yesterday in our basement because we have a little Papa Shot down there. And
I saw your post. Yeah,
and so I played the NBC on it, or the NBA on NBC music, and it was awesome. It got me fired up for next year.
Gotta love Round Ball Rock, man. It's the best. It was my ringtone for a long time, and my wife got very annoyed. So now I carry my phone on silent all the time.
I think my phone's been on silent for the past 10 years.
It's the way to live. All right, so we'll real quick talk about Friday. Like I said, it's a cup game, same team. I think the biggest thing we're obviously going to jump out is perimeter defense has to be better, much better. And I have a feeling that Atlanta's going to try to make the adjustment to try to stop Mobley and Allen. So you're going to have more chances to get more 3-point shots on your end as well. And I think I feel okay about getting them back on Friday where the stakes are higher. It's also an afternoon game. It's on NBA TV. So it's sort of kind of a national game. I think they'll be okay.
I think so too. And they may focus on Mobley and Allen. They don't have the personnel to go up against those guys. So there's only so much scheming you can do. So I would really love to see a better defensive effort and a more concerted effort to get those guys the ball in the paint.
Yeah, for sure.
I expect the Cavs to come out with a taste of piss and vinegar in their mouth, man. I think they're taking this loss personal, and I think that they're going to come out with very high intensity come Friday.
Yeah, back-to-back games, by the way. They have a chance to avenge both losses. So...
Yeah. I think, like I said, I think they're going to come out bitter about this game.
Yeah, I do too. Plus, of course, Sunday, Porzingis just had to come back this week, so that's great. Wonderful. All right, man.
Yeah, but you want to play the Celtics at their best, though. I want to, but for the Cavs, because that's how you have to plan to play their best, at the most important time of the year. So I hope he plays and everybody plays for the Celtics on Sunday and for the Cavs.
Yeah, me too. Really hope Karis LeVert's back by then for sure.
Yeah, very much missing him. I kind of forget what the bench is without him or with him.
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, he's pretty great. So, all right, dudes. Well, I think it's here. Kevin came up with a fantastic idea for this since this is Thanksgiving Eve. We're talking about even though tonight they lost, we are still talking about the 17-2 Cleveland Cavaliers. Sky's not falling too far down, guys. We're going to be okay. We're going to share some what are we thankful for. And Kevin, did you necessarily mean this to be, it could be about the Cavs or it could be about basketball, life? Did you have any specifics?
I think it's dealer's choice.
All right.
I was more planning. Yeah. Just whatever you feel thankful for on Thanksgiving Eve.
Cool. Well, it's your idea. So you're in your new beautiful home. You're settled. You're settled in,
Yeah. Well, okay. Then I guess I'll cheat and I'll do both because I will say I'm thankful for this podcast. It gives me an excuse to watch and talk about basketball every day. I'm thankful for Kenny Atkinson, the Cavaliers, and I'm going to steal anybody else's. I'm thankful for TJ Maxx because the Cavaliers are not 17-2 without him. So I will say that. And then on a personal note, I will say I'm thankful for many, many things, but most of those things revolve around my wife, Marisa. She's carrying our second child. I don't know if I said that we're expecting our second child.
Congrats.
Congrats.
She bared with us through this move. We now have like our dream house. She's incredibly accomplished career, a great mother, and just most of the good things I have outside of this podcast are because of her. So I would say TJ Maxx and my wife. Those are the things I'm thankful for.
Absolutely. And what goes better hand in hand on Black Friday than TJ Maxx and your significant
And your wife.
Yeah.
Skylar, what about you?
Yeah, I think I'm also thankful for this podcast. It's so much fun just to get on here and talk with you guys. It's really become a highlight of most of my days. I'm thankful that Donovan Mitchell is a Cleveland Cavalier and also extended to stay in Cleveland. To just kind of just quiet that mass media who, he's leaving. So I'm super thankful for that. And on a personal level, just thankful to have all of my house selling and buying situation settled. And I will be following Kevin in the move, hopefully next week. Or the week after next week. Yeah. And thankful for my wife. She is the rock of our house, takes care of myself and our child and kind of keeps us. She's the glue to keep us all together because I very stressed out with, like I said, the just work life. And then also this move, like apparently selling a house is awful. Buying a house is super easy. Selling a house is terrible.
Yeah, it's not fun. Pretty terrible.
So very thankful to Devin for just being the support in our house.
Yeah, Devin also occasionally pops up.
Glue is a great. Yeah. Glue is a great word to describe wives and mothers and mothers of your children. That's a really good word, Scully.
Yeah.
Very well put. So yeah, obviously I'll follow suit. My wife Grace, my beautiful daughter Iris. If it wasn't for them, we couldn't be Dads Talking Cavs. So
such a good name.
Was our second choice. It could be our slogan: the block, the shot, the stop, just Dads Talking Cavs.
I'm fine with that.
Look at that marketing
I like that.
right there.
I like that. Yeah.
Look at that marketing right there. I don't even have a marketing degree. I'm thankful that LeBron James made me care about the Cleveland Cavaliers as a kid. And now, even though I once loved the Chicago Bulls with all my heart, this is the team I get to pay attention to. I'm thankful for the fact that we're growing an audience consistently right now, and not just in America, but shout out all the international countries who are really enjoying our show. We're seeing the numbers, and it's really appreciative. I really appreciate you guys for going along with my idea to do this show. And not only that, but contributing with your own ideas and making a game plan here. It's been awesome. And I'm really, really appreciate everything. So thanks to, of course, our wives, our kids, and our audience, and the Cleveland Cavaliers for being such an incredibly fun basketball team to watch on a day-to-day basis.
And Blue Wire. Shout out to Blue Wire for giving us this opportunity to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Good save, Skylar.
Yeah. Skylar's the company, man, for sure.
I can be bought.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I for sure can be bought. Yeah. But I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up here. Like we said, so Friday, we're back. It's an early game. It's like, so we'll probably be on the air probably about 5 o'clock Eastern? If they don't go to overtime?
Yeah.
Something like that. That'd be kind of awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're going to be playing at 2 o'clock on NBA TV. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Like we said, I know it's a loss, but everything's going to be okay. We got this. This Cavs team's going to be all right. And we can't wait to be back on Friday. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy this day with your loved ones. Everyone, have a great night. And we'll see you Friday afternoon.
Go Cavs.